Brought to you by PrayLatin.com, makers of prayer cards featuring complete English phonetic renderings of Latin pronunciations.
It's easy to remain cynical when it comes to news regarding the church and in the world in general, especially when they tend to overlap a little bit, like in our story today. But it's actually some good news, and it may be a reflection of all that uncertainty and bad news out there. One of the most progressive liberal places, one of the bluest places in the United States of America, is experiencing a soaring increase in conversions to the Catholic faith. That is good news. It is good news even if they're coming in as much more progressive types of Catholics than people who typically watch this channel would prefer. It is better to be in the church with some weird ideas than to be outside of it, because at least if you are making good confessions, the graces of the church, meaning graces of God, distributed by the church, can work on people if they're truly seeking the truth and finish the job of the conversion. It is better that they are in the church than not. And this is the kind of news story that will, without question, upset some of the types of people who, well, they tend to want to see the church wither away. And there are plenty of men in collars working in the church who clearly, from their actions, want to see the church wither away. So we now turn to the New York Post, of all places, for this story. And it is noteworthy that it's a secular news outlet breaking the story and not, say, LifeSite or somebody like that. The headline: New Yorkers turning to the church, number of Catholic converts soaring, according to priests. It's noteworthy when the secular media, whether progressive or conservative by secular standards, starts reporting in a way that we would consider positively about life in the church. People are coming home to the Catholic faith. There are reversions happening and conversions happening. On the flip side, however, when you take them into those numbers and you compare them to the larger trend, which is typically your now OCIA, formerly RCIA, you look at those lists they give you if you're like most people watching this channel, go to an ordinary form parish. You'll see the list of the names to pray for as they're coming into the church. You'll compare that to the list of the names your parish might post, in November, for those who passed away in the previous liturgical year to pray for their repose of their souls. And that latter list, the list of those who passed away, dwarfs the conversions list traditionally. And that's not even counting the people who just walk away from the faith, or who maybe they're Catholic, but they stopped going to Mass and all those other things. There are these numbers. We're not sugarcoating things here. However, if this trend continues, if we keep seeing conversions soaring, then this may be the beginning of something truly wonderful in the life of the church. And so it's a phenomenon worth remembering, while also not lying to ourselves that everything is peachy keen now because we've got, a spike in conversions. So let's go to the details of this article, because if you're wanting some good news as we head into some key American holidays, can't think of anything better than this. Young people come to New York City to chase careers, materialism, and pleasure. The pursuit of faith isn't exactly on the Big Apple checklist. However, at a recent very crowded Sunday Mass at St. Joseph's Church in Greenwich Village, Father Jonah Teller OP made a simple announcement indicating that times are changing. According to Teller, the number enrolled in the parish's Order of Christian Initiation of Adults, a process in which adults convert to Catholicism, had tripled since last year, with roughly 130 people signing up. There's a similar story at St. Vincent Ferrer on the Upper East Side, where their OCIA numbers have doubled since last year, swelling to nearly 90 people. At the Basilica of St. Patrick's Old Cathedral, they've also doubled their headcount with about 100 people. Their 7 p.m. Sunday Mass has become overcrowded. We're out of space, and exploring adding more masses, Father Daniel Ray told the Post. In the Diocese of Brooklyn, they've also seen a surge. In 2024, they had 538 adults enter the church, nearly twice the amount of 2023. All priests acknowledge that some will drop off before the Easter Vigil, but they still expect numbers to remain high. Since activist Charlie Kirk, an evangelical Protestant, was ended in September, there's been reports that Mass attendance is way up. And over the last year, Catholic churches across the country have cited more conversions among young people, end quote. And I will tell you, I've covered young people converting to the faith before what happened to Charlie Kirk happened. It's true. People have been, it looks like in the last year or so, coming in at higher numbers than before. Does it undermine everything I said about those lists of the people who passed away dwarfing those lists? Not necessarily. In fact, I don't think so. We have to look at the long-term trend. But also numbers are, it's strange. Numbers don't necessarily mean anything if people come in and don't actually believe, right? Would it be better for the church to be smaller with fervent believers? Some would say yes. It's a hypothesis, not one I'd actually share, because the church's principal mission is the salvation of souls. Our Lord wants everyone to be saved. He's not going to make everybody be saved, but he does desire everyone to be saved. He offers the graces to be saved to everybody freely, but they have to accept them and cooperate with those graces through the sacraments and everything else. It's hard, but it's not that hard. It's not that hard to grasp. And so the numbers they're important, but right now the trend line isn't great, but it might be reversing. Are we seeing a reversal of past and more recent trends? This isn't the first time I've told you this. I've recorded a video like this last year. Perhaps, maybe just perhaps we are, because younger priests tend to be more conservative. When they talk, they mostly, for the most part, sound Catholic when they speak, when they teach the faith, more so than older bishops and older priests tend to. And of course, there are always exceptions to that rule. Let's go back to the story for some more details. Quote, "We've got a real booming thing happening here, and it's not because of some marketing campaign," said Ray. "However, in an unstable and fractured world, the promise of strength, love, and community is a pretty good pitch. My generation is watching things fall apart," Keegan Lenihan, who is an OCIA at St. Joseph's, told the Post. "When things seem all to be going wrong in greater society, maybe organized religion isn't that bad." Indeed, the crop of converts, most of whom have no experience with formal faith, cited a variety of cultural forces pushing them toward the church. Some are looking for a balance and meaning in a chaotic, polarized world, where politics has become a stand-in for real faith. In fact, a few cited the end of Charlie Kirk's life. Many are high achievers, unfulfilled by success. "Materially, we have everything at our fingertips, and it's not reaching our hearts," said Teller, a charismatic teacher who was often cited by OCIA students as a draw. End quote. And therein lies the rub. We can see things are getting weirder and weirder out there. We are living in a time of change. The cultural pendulum has swung pretty hard. Not so much just to the right, but also from up, meaning authoritarian, down. It's populist out there now. And you're seeing that with young people. And in a time of change, people want stability. The church is supposed to be the rock, founded on the rock of Peter by Jesus Christ, but it's supposed to be a rock, a cornerstone of society that helps hold everything together. And I hope the senior prelates in the church are paying attention, because they are pushing a revolutionary reform program in the church, their synodality program. They could scare a lot of people away. What the church needs now is stability. More than anything else, it just needs stability. For sound doctrine, sound faith to be taught, people to be called to conversion, to live better lives, to seek sanctity, some old-fashioned Catholic ideas. Because that's what drew those people in. Because after they saw a man who, he may not have been Catholic, although that's debated these days, but he was a better Catholic in the way he lived than a lot of Catholics are. And they saw what they did to him publicly. They got a lot of people thinking. Many people who are converting right now cited what happened to Charlie Kirk as their reason for coming into the Catholic Church, even though officially Charlie Kirk wasn't a Catholic. Give you some food for thought on that. God does work, they say, in mysterious ways. But I'm curious what you think about this, so let me know in the comments, please. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't. It does help. Sharing this on social media helps a lot too. As always, pray for the church. And if you're watching in the United States, I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving Day. We'll have videos for you that day as usual. I'm Anthony Stine. Ave Maria.